What's up, everybody? It's Greg with Delta, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business with coaching on sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And we bring on guest speakers. Today, I have the honor and pleasure of welcoming Mr. Fred Moskowitz. Fred, how you doing?
Doing awesome. Thank you. It's great to be here.
This is take two. We started. We got like 5 minutes in, just sitting there chatting. I was like, man, it's not recording. So for those of you listening, we already got some practice in. So
that's the magic of live interviews, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just got to roll with everything and don't miss a beat.
Right? Exactly. I love it. So for those of you that don't know Fred is an educator and best-selling author who has trained countless investors from all walks of life on how to create passive income streams on their own. As a fund manager, Fred manages a mortgage note investment fund that is considered an industry veteran within the note investing arena. Fred teaches a concept that individual investors are able to step into the shoes of the lender through note investing and effectively be the bank. Fred takes pride in collaborating with investors to help them grow the profit in the note space, as well as being a trusted and valued resource in the arena of alternative investments. His new book, titled The Little Green Book of Note Investing, has recently launched. You can reach Fred on his website, www.fredmoskowitz.com. That'll be in the show notes, as well as a phone number you can text money to if you are interested in note investing. I think you will be, just based off of the conversation we were starting to have. But let's go ahead and jump in, Fred. What is note investing? Kind of explain it to everybody.
Note investing, it is a very powerful investment asset class. And I'll tell you something, banks figured this out long ago, right? The business of lending and money has been around since biblical times, but banks long ago have figured out that they would rather be in the business of being a lien holder, of owning debt, instead of being a property owner. And so that's why banks don't like to own property. If they ever have a property, they sell it as quickly as possible. So then they can recoup their capital, turn around and create a new loan, because that's where their strength lies. And so this business is very powerful. And what note investing means that the investor purchases a note and a mortgage. So you're buying a loan which is secured by collateral. It's backed by a hard asset, which is the house, the real estate. And so that gives you a nice downside protection, because no matter what happens, you always have recourse to secure your investment. That's the collateral. And so this is something that a lot of investors are familiar with notes and mortgages from the perspective of being the bank, from the perspective of not being the bank, being the borrower. And here's what happens. A lot of people invest in real estate in general, right? Houses, single family houses, multi-family properties, vacation properties, commercial properties. And when we talk about investing in the paper, which is the notes and mortgages associated with those properties, a lot of real estate investors, they don't pay any attention to this part of the business. Most people, when they think of a note and mortgage, they think of being the borrower and not as being the lender. But getting involved in note investing, it allows you to step across the aisle and become the bank. And you transition from being the one making those monthly payments to being the one receiving the monthly payments. And what this does, I've found, is that it's a great way to increase the stability and predictability of your cash flow. And so that really does a nice job of rounding out any investment portfolio. I love having cash flow components to anyone's investment portfolio. And it all comes from this idea of buying, building assets that you own, that you control, and they generate income for you. And that's what note investing is all about.
And so One of the things that we were talking about before we started recording is how does somebody get into this?
Yeah.
There's two methods. So kind of break those two methods down.
Yeah, there's two methods to get involved in note investing. The first one is to go out to the secondary market and buy individual loans
Mhm.
and start assembling a note portfolio. And so you do your research, you establish relationships, you perform due diligence to analyze and evaluate each note, decide on the ones you want, and then you bid on them and purchase them. Now, the second way is more of a passive approach where an investor can invest into a note fund which is professionally managed. And what happens is the fund managers, they go out and raise capital, and then they'll take all that capital, pool it together, and go out to the secondary marketplace. And now they're buying notes in bulk quantity. And the benefit of that is that there's better pricing, better discounts, there's more access to notes. And for the investors, the benefit is that they get to leverage the experience, the expertise, and the relationships and access to notes that the fund managers have. And so it's a great way to be a part of something bigger than yourself and benefit from that. So those two methods, the first one is active investing,
Mhm.
where you're putting in a lot of time and effort. The second one is more of a passive approach. And so there's no right or wrong answer to go about it. It just depends on how much time you have and if you want to get involved in being active in a business. And if you already are a business owner or you're a busy professional, then maybe the passive note investing is a better approach for you. It's a very individualized question. There's no right or wrong answer, as I said earlier.
What are some resources where people can go to in order to find those passive opportunities?
Yeah, really, all of this is focused around building relationships.
Okay.
Everything note funds are generally done as private offerings, and so you have to build and establish a relationship with the fund manager. And on the other side of the coin, even buying notes in the secondary market, a lot of it is relationship based, and so you need to pursue some education. You need to get involved in different investment groups, maybe attend conferences, and that's where you'll meet sellers of notes who may be note funds or hedge funds or other investors. We all transact business all the time and buy and sell notes amongst each other.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is it's about building relationships, and really, I think that any investing that you do, it's highly relationship based.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
that's with most businesses. So no surprise that that's going to be the same when it comes to finding the right deals or being able to get your foot in the door to be
yeah.
able to execute some of these transactions. What can people expect to pay when it comes to like doing their first note? They start to build a relationship.
Mhm.
Are they paying for what's remaining on the loan? Is there a discount? How does that even work out?
Yeah, the way it typically works is notes are traded at a discount. Now, how much of a discount that will vary depending on the type of note and the risk characteristics, as well as it could be the need for liquidity by the seller of the note. If a note seller needs to raise capital, recoup capital quickly, they may offer a more generous discount in order to get that note sold faster. I mean, this goes on with real estate in general as well. And
Yeah.
so, as far as how much of a discount can be anywhere from, let's say, an example of $100,000 note, it could sell for 96,000 or 95,000 or 90,000 or 80,000. It varies a lot, but it really depends on the characteristics of the note and the risk profile. Like any investment, if you're willing to take on more risk or more problems, then you're going to earn a higher rate of return. And that's no exception in the note investing space.
Okay. Nice. How did you get into this, Fred? How'd you learn about this?
How did I learn about this? I learned about this through my education uh, when I started out as a real estate investor, right? I started out with real estate investing in properties here in Philadelphia, where I'm based out of.
Mhm.
And over time, through education and learning and a lot of the different books I was reading, a lot of them touched on this idea of notes and how they could be used to structure a transaction. And after some time, through a relationship I had the opportunity to actually buy notes because I was always fascinated by that. But I said, "Oh, this looks really great. It could be powerful, but I don't know where to get notes. I don't know where to find them, where to buy them." But then through some relationships I had, I got involved in the industry and had the opportunity to buy notes. So when that opportunity presented itself, I knew exactly what was involved, and I was able to take advantage.
And how many notes have you approximately have you purchased and ran?
Oh my, I've lost count. I've lost count. Millions of dollars worth,
Yeah.
hands down. I've been involved in the industry. I started in 2010, so this is 13 years now, and I love the space. It's really, really interesting. It's always changing and evolving, and there's some great people involved. I feel that building relationships, it's my favorite activity, and it's a big part of what we do as investors.
No, absolutely. And if someone's listening to this, they're like, man, this sounds interesting. How could they get started? And I'll preface it with like, I'm a simple guy. Prior military. I need a checklist. Hey, first thing you're gonna do is this.
Yeah.
Second thing, do this. Like I want it like broken down Barney style, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I talk a lot about this in my book.
Yeah.
Um,
So the first
giving
step is
giving a
get
high
started.
level. Yeah, and there's many great books about note
Yeah.
investing, not
Yeah.
just mine, but really what I set out to do was give a high level overview, break down the steps, the process of how to find notes, how to evaluate them, because you might look at a spreadsheet with 20 or 30 notes and you're going to pick a couple. So,
Yeah.
how do you go about doing that and comparing them and looking at the risks and performing due diligence and looking at the different reports and different data and information? But a big component of this is not only looking at the investment itself, the asset, but also the importance of performing due diligence on who's selling you the note. Are they reputable? Do they have a good reputation? Can you call one of your colleagues in the industry and ask them, "Hey, Greg, have you ever done business with so and so? Do they have a good reputation? Do they deliver as promised?" And so those are some of the important steps. And this goes, frankly, whether you're investing in individual notes or investing in a note fund, the steps don't change that much. You perform the same activities, and then once you agree on a trade and you purchase the note, the next thing you do, you receive this file with all the loan documents. And from your education, you'll know what those are. There's the note, the mortgage. There'll be an assignment which conveys ownership of the instrument. You have to record the note in the county where the property is located, which puts it officially on title. You either record the mortgage itself or the uh, assignment document to do that.
Mm.
Also, in parallel with that, what is best practice is to board that loan with a loan servicing company, and they will handle a lot of the ongoing management and details for you. It's one of the very important vendors we use. So that's a lot of the steps involved at a high level. If you're investing in individual notes, and if you're investing in a note fund, again, you perform your evaluation and due diligence and read through all the information and documents and understand, and then check out who you're doing business with. Are they reputable? Do they deliver as promised? Again, and think about this. This is a long-term relationship you're entering into, and so you want to make sure that you're comfortable with each other and that you're a good fit for each other,
Mhm.
because it's not always a good fit. So make sure you find that out up front.
Yeah.
And then once you've purchased the investment, then there's really not much ongoing that needs to be done. You can go back to focusing on generating income and looking for your next investment.
You've mentioned a lot and really emphasized the importance of relationship building.
Oh, yes.
What are some of the tactics or strategies that you use to help develop relationships within with specifically within your industry, and what you found to be successful?
Yeah, within my industry, a lot of it for me is giving back, being of service and adding value to
Love that.
others.
Love that.
And it doesn't matter if you're starting out day one or you have years and years of experience. There's always ways that you can give back, you can contribute. I love speaking. I love speaking. I do quite a few podcast interviews. I speak at investment events and conferences, and I really enjoy that. I have an objective where I want to make an impact to people in their financial progress, and that is so rewarding. But I'll tell you something, to do well in this space, when you show up in the world with an attitude of being of service and adding value to others, that effort is going to come back to you tenfold. And
Yes.
the funny thing is, it always comes back to you from a different place than from where you directed that energy. It's funny how that works, but it's always like that.
I love that. I was hoping for something around those lines. That's right in line with what I believe in and what we teach, and we've preached multiple times on the podcast here, and what I talk to my agents about in Delta Financial is be of service. Be of
Yeah.
service to people, and what you'll find is that you're going to be more successful in the long run.
No, absolutely. It's what do they call? Oh, the law of reciprocity. That's
Yeah,
exactly what it is.
it is.
And you know what? For me, my experience with this, when I was first starting out, I learned from some masters in the investment space, and they're always willing to give help and guidance, answer questions. And one educator that I learned a lot from, he said this. I'll never forget these words. He said, "Fred, take this information, take this knowledge, what you're learning and the skills you're developing, and go out and do well with it in the world, benefit and prosper. And then once you've made it, I want you to turn around and share it with someone else and help them with someone else that's just getting started." And so that's that cycle. It's so true. And you see it time and time again. And,
Mm.
successful people are always happy to help others. It is an environment of contribution and adding value, and not of scarcity and all of those things. That's a whole different mindset. And when you're stuck in that place, it tends to really hold you back.
Yeah.
And I've seen that many times.
No, yeah, having a scarcity mindset will 100% hold you back, and and sometimes it can be challenging to switch your mindset from a scarcity to an abundance mindset. Um, and we can talk about how maybe strategies you've used to for you. I found that being just purely being of service and taking the end result out of it. If I don't focus on the end result, I don't focus on the sale, I don't focus on the commission, and I focus on just being the best version of myself and providing the best service in front of the person, whether I make a sale or not.
Yeah.
It's worlds different.
No, that's so true. I love that. It is really about, instead of being transactional, you're focused more on the long-term relationship.
Yeah.
And sometimes the business comes, but it comes later on, and that's okay. And that's totally okay.
Yeah. No, absolutely true. Absolutely true. Now you've been doing this for 13 years. You've written a book on it. What other resources have you made, if any, that could help people to learn more about it or to get into this? Have you ever thought about either doing like an online academy where you could teach it, like video instruction courses?
I have, yeah. I do some training for sure, especially with investors that we work with, and help. We have a community where we help each other to grow and prosper. Also, I speak a lot at industry events and conferences as well from an
Mhm.
educational perspective. Always looking to share knowledge and uplift and up level those of us in our industry, because when we are all successful, the industry has a better reputation, there's more prosperity, and as they say, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Mhm. So I think this is hopefully this helps. This is I'm listening to you and I'm kind of envisioning this and I'm like, just to be real, there's probably a lot of people that could do this that just don't know about it, right?
Yeah.
And people are they don't read as much as we would like them to, right? I read every day, but there's a lot of people that just don't even read at all, and so
It's
um,
unfortunate.
it is very unfortunate, very unfortunate. Um, I'm kind of looking at this. I'm like, man, it would. I think that would be a really cool um, resource is to have like an online university that it's videos broken down that kind of walks them through step by step. And it can be even based off of your book, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, if you don't want to read the book, I also have these videos. You just watch, you listen to it. It gives you everything that you need, the steps you need to take. And you can have another like, hey, you only pay X amount per month to get access to the videos, you know. And it could be a low ticket offer, but I think that's something that if you haven't done or haven't been thinking about, I would definitely look into that because you
Yeah,
probably have
thank
a
you.
lot of people.
Yeah, that can be a very powerful strategy for sure.
You'd
Yeah.
be able to help a lot of people, especially if all the speaking events you go to. Having a card that you give out that has a little QR code where they can get and it shows like, hey, here's all the videos, here's how it breaks down. You could have, hey, you want lifetime access, it costs this. If you just want monthly access, significantly cheaper, but it'll take you a while to kind of get through the videos. It's like a 6-month program, whatever. When you actually like run through the videos and you apply them, it takes you about 6 months. So, or you can get lifetime access that
Yeah.
you can always have, and it would cost this much, right?
No, that's a great strategy for sure, and I've seen a lot of people be very successful with that, and
Yeah,
I've certainly learned my fair share from online courses
yeah.
like the ones you're describing for certain.
I think
And
you got a lot
one,
of value to provide, man. You got a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
experience, a lot of value. You're speaking at events, you get on podcasts already. You know, um, I can tell you this just from the metrics, there would be more people that's like, "Oh, you have an online course." They're more likely that they're gonna click that and look into it based on because like this is super interesting to me, but I don't mind reading a book. Most people are like, "Oh, I gotta read a book." It's like, like, will they get the book? Maybe. Will they read it and apply it? And that there's even a smaller percentage that the people that get the book, they'll actually read it. But there's a higher percentage of people that would watch a video and
yeah,
listen to it.
yeah. You're absolutely right. Absolutely,
So, and I think this is
love
something
that.
that like more people should become their own bank. More people should be able to, hey, you got some money to invest? Okay, well, let me teach you about how to buy notes. Let me teach you how to do note investing. And it's not a big barrier to entry to learn it. And if they have the money to do note investing for them to pay the course fees in order to learn it, they're gonna be like, okay, done. You know, yeah.
Great.
Highly recommend it. So if you want any help building a university structure, reach out to me. I've done a couple of them.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So I'd love to just brainstorm with you and kind of be like, hey, this is how I'd structure it. Boom, 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 boom. So yeah, man. Awesome. For anyone thinking about, for anyone that's listening to this, like, man, like they're hesitant, right? What would you tell them?
Yeah.
You rewind the clock back to when you started. What concerns
Yeah.
did you have, and how did you overcome them?
Really, the concerns and the fears, it comes from not knowing, the unknown, like anything else. So it's important to get started through some education, reading books, listening to podcasts or online materials, but also attending events and conferences that are investment focused, because you're going to learn there from the educational content. But the other benefit is, think about this, who else is there?
Other investors or
Who
people?
else is there? Other investors with all ranges of experience. And so you're around like-minded individuals. And back to what we were talking about, building relationships. That's where you're going to meet people that are successful, people that are growth minded, and you can build alliances with each other and do business together, buy and sell notes to each other, all of these things, and have participation in a community.
Mhm.
And that level of support, really, it's so helpful to be able to pull out your cell phone and make a couple calls to ask some, hey, I want to just run something by you. What do you think of da 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 da? Or hey, I'm about to do a transaction with so and so. Are you familiar with them? Do you know anything about their reputation? Anything to be worried about, or have you done business with them before and had a good experience? All of this is huge,
Yeah.
huge. And so it's about surrounding yourself with people that have the experience, that already have the knowledge and skills, and they can help and support you. And so those are some of the things that really help set you up for success. And it's not just in note investing. This goes for any type of investing, any business activity that you do. Get around people that are already doing what it is that you want to pursue, and they're successful at it. And so that's going to totally change the environment. And that's a huge impact on your mindset.
Yes, absolutely. Going to those events is a huge impact on mindset. It's not, and sometimes it's not even the stuff that you learn, or like it's just being in that environment with those people.
Yeah,
Makes a huge
absolutely.
impact. So I love it, man. I appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit about investing into notes. And this is very unique. I've never seen or heard anything like this. Makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, man, I kind of want to do this now too. Yeah, if anyone wants to learn more, they can check out your website, and they can also go to it looks like giftfromfred.com.
Yeah, that it's an easier way to spell my name. You can go to my website, which is fredmoskowitz.com, but
Mhm.
an easier spelling is giftfromfred.com, and it'll take you right there.
Okay.
And you can sign up for my newsletter, or you can request to receive a special report that I'm happy to email out about note investing.
Yeah.
And I always love connecting with investors and learning about what people are up to, because the investment arena is such a huge space. People get involved in so many different types of deals, and it's fascinating
Yeah.
to me to talk about it and network and build relationships. One of the most important things that any of us can do.
I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. Last question I ask all my guests. You have an opportunity to sit with, learn from, have a conversation with, or even break bread with 3 individuals, anyone in history, alive or deceased. Who are they, and why would you pick them?
Oh, I love this question. The first one, my top one is Benjamin Franklin.
Ah, he's a good one. I like him.
He was a genius, such a brilliant mind, and think about all the inventions that he came up with, and all of the institutions that he created. Right, uh, super impactful, left such a legacy. But here's a quote that I love by him, and it goes like this: "An investment in knowledge always pays the highest dividends." And so from that, we learn never be afraid to invest in yourself, invest in your education, your growth. And when you do that, that's going to give you valuable skills, valuable expertise that helps you to grow and produce more and prosper. And it's something that can never be taken away from you.
Oh,
So definitely at the top of the list is Benjamin Franklin for
great
sure.
pick. Great pick. I love that one. His autobiographies were fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about the other two?
The other two, another another figure from history is Michelangelo. Michelangelo, a
Yeah.
brilliant mind, creative and visionary, and something that we could all learn from. It's about um, envisioning what you want before it physically exists, and then you create that. And he was the master of that. And the third one is another hero of mine, one of my favorite authors, Ernest Hemingway.
I like you have really thoughtful
He
ones.
he is a brilliant writer, and you know something, Greg. Anytime I'm going to go on a trip, a traveling,
Uh-huh.
especially for vacation, that's my go-to. Like that's what I go to my bookshelf and pull out to take with me to read, like on the plane and in the airport or while I'm traveling, because he always had such great adventures and stories from a different era. And it's fascinating, such colorful characters. And he would go to different events around the world, and activities that just so colorful and so rich in detail and vivid. I love that.
I love it too. I think you're the first person to pick all three deceased people, which is unique. I like it. I like it. So, thank you so much, Fred, for jumping on the
Yeah.
podcast. This has been fantastic. For those of you watching and you're watching till now, or you're listening on the podcast platforms, then you obviously got some value. It means you took something away, you learned something, maybe you changed your perspective on investing. Who knows? But whatever it is, you got value. And what we ask you to do us a favor. Share this content with other people that can also learn and grow from it. There's a lot of learning that can be done. There's a lot of information. We can change the structure of everyone's financial situations by applying some of these strategies to our own lives and to our own portfolios. It takes you 60 seconds to rate, review, subscribe, and share, but it means the world, both Fred and I. This has been the Be the Difference podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. Until next time, we'll see you.